A Facebook group, yeah. How many of you are members of Facebook groups? Not just Facebook, but an actual group on Facebook. Fantastic, great. You could probably go home now, you're not going to learn anything here. How about this one? Yeah, PLN, Personal Learning Network. This one? How many of you are on Twitter and use Twitter? Okay, and be honest, how many of you use Twitter? Yeah? Okay, great, good, that's good. Lots of people have Twitter and never use it. How about this one? Yeah, blog, well done. This one? Yeah, it's a social network. It's actually a group of people. People often refer to Facebook as a social network, and in a way it's not. It's software or a platform that you create a social network on. The network is really people, it's not technology. How about this one?
Connectivism.
Yeah. Connectivism. How many of you had to look that one up on Google? Or did you already know it? You already knew it? Great, perfect. Okay, so you've done very well on your vocabulary test. So what I'm going to be looking at in this session is tools and practices to help teachers develop their teaching autonomously. And it sounds like you're well on your way to doing that already. I have a sentence. This is the beginning of a sentence. Teachers are like sharks. Ask the person next to you what they think the other half of the sentence is. Just ask them, say, what's the other half of that sentence? Ask them. Okay, I'll give you the other half of the sentence. Teachers are like sharks. When they stop moving forward, they start to die. Yeah, and I think that's something quite important that as teachers we need, especially in the world that we live in now, we need to keep moving our practice forward. And it's important that we keep developing. You can't just stop learning when you finish your degree. I finished my Masters in Educational Technology about, 7 or 8 years ago. And since then, everything I learned on my Masters has changed because the technology is working so quickly, changing so quickly. So I think you have to really make an effort to keep up with what's happening in education at the moment. But I should need to tell you that, should I? So, how do you keep moving forward? How do you stop from becoming one of those dead sharks? You can come to conferences like this. I actually did some research into how teachers keep their teaching practice moving forward. If you want to scan the QR code, you can see the results of the research, but these are some of the things that teachers suggested. But the most popular one was still coming to conferences, which is good, but it's not something you can do every day. For some people, it's not even something they can do every year. Coming to a conference can be expensive and difficult to get to. So we can look to the internet for our development. There's a sentence here. Ask the person next to you whether they agree with this. Okay, just say to them, do you agree with that? Come on, ask them. Okay. How many people agree? Come on, who agrees? People who disagree? Yeah, oh, good. People who aren't sure? Yeah, I'm kind of not sure. Because there's a problem with this statement, and this is the problem. This is what happens in 1 minute on the internet. So, 6 million Facebook views and 277,000 status updates. Hashtag, oh my God. So within all of that activity, how do we find the small part of it that we need to develop as teachers? And that's what I want to sort of address here. Really. So I'll change this statement to everything you need to know to keep your teaching to develop can be found online somewhere. So let's look at how we find it and how we get that information. And I want to look at some steps to becoming digital information literate on the internet. As you can see, this is my little daughter. Yeah. She started very young becoming digitally literate. I think she was about 6 months old then, and she called on her mother like that. Okay, so we'll start off with Twitter, and part of what we need to learn is how to ignore what's irrelevant. If you use Twitter, you probably know that Twitter is like having thousands of people together in one room, and they're all shouting. And what you hear is just lots and lots and lots of noise. So how do we make Twitter useful for ourselves? One of the first things we can do is find useful people to follow. And here, when you download this, there are some recommendations for some useful people to follow. People who are publishing and sharing good information on the internet. So if you're a Twitter user and you found Twitter difficult to use, what you need to do is follow the right people. And these are some tips for people to follow. The other key is hashtags. Whenever somebody posts something to Twitter, they should use a hashtag to show relevance. And these can help you pull out from that huge stream of information the things that are important for you. These are some good examples of hashtags that might be useful for you. Twitter is a great tool, but it has a very bad user interface. This is what my Twitter looks like on my phone, and it's not very user-friendly for discovering information. But if you have a Twitter account, and then you use a different tool called TweetDeck, it will help you stream information according to those hashtags. I'll show you what this looks like. So here you can see TweetDeck operating in my browser, and as you can see there are a number of columns. And at the top of each column I have a hashtag, and that hashtag streams only information that's connected with that particular topic. So it makes it much easier for me to find information that's relevant for me. I don't even have to follow anybody. I can just follow those hashtags. So I have one on education reform, educational technology, web tools, BLT, and I can just scroll down those columns and find something that's relevant for me. And then just click on the links. So that makes Twitter much more accessible and much more useful for me. Whenever I'm having my morning coffee, I can come to Twitter, have a look and find something relevant to read and look at my and start developing my teaching. The other good source of information that I find is through Facebook and joining various Facebook groups. There are loads and loads of different groups related to teaching on Facebook. I follow far too many of them. If you go to groups on Facebook and then discover, if you type in something like ELT or TESOL, you'll find lots of groups related to that topic. When you download the presentation, I've included some recommendations for groups here. These are different groups of teachers who work in English language teaching and share materials from around the world. So you can access huge numbers of different teachers around the world through these groups on specific topics. I've even added one at the bottom which is an Indonesian English Teachers Club, which has about 15,000 members. Any of you members of the Indonesian Teachers Club group? Great, good. So, that's something that I recommend you join because, they'll be part of your own experience. So that's one way to help ignore what's irrelevant and start to focus in on what you need. The second tips that I'll give you is how to get information to come to you, either to come to your email or some other place so that you don't have to constantly go looking for new information. The first one is a tool that helps you create your own newspaper, and it's something called Paperly. All you have to do is go to the website, and I'll show you the website. Once you log in, you just type in a topic that you're interested in. My connection's not working very well at the moment. And then it will select content for you. This is one I prepared earlier. And so it creates a newspaper based around the topic that I'm interested in. And it will send me this to my email every day. So once I've created it, I get one email each day that has my daily newspaper that's related to the topic of my interest. So it searches through all of the things that are being published through Twitter or through the internet on that topic, and it creates a newspaper for me based around that topic. So when I'm having my coffee in the morning, I can come and read that. And then I can go and look at TweetDeck. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning, which really helps. So that's what my own newspaper looks like. The other useful tool I have, which sends me information, is from a social networking site called Digo. Digo has a number of groups which are based around special interests. You can create your own group, or you can join one of the groups that are already created. And the groups, the site collects together information that people within the group share. And then each day you get an email with some links to all the new things that have been shared within that group. So once again, when I'm having my coffee in the morning, I can look at my email and check through these different links on Digo and find new things to read. This is the third step. The next thing you need is to start categorizing and saving the information that you find. And for this I use a tool called Scoopit, which is a curation tool. There's nothing more frustrating than finding something, when you're having your coffee in the morning, you find something very interesting to read, and you think, I'll come back to that. A week later, you remember the article that you read, and you think, great, where's that article? And you can't find it. So curation is a great way to kind of collect and save those articles and make sure you can find them and you can come back to them later. Scooping also enables you to share all of those links as well. So I originally started the site here, which is Learning Technology News, for my master's students when I was working at Westminster University. I had 15 students and I wanted to share information with them that I thought was interesting. So I started adding 2 or 3 new links each day. But those 15 people, my 15 students stayed subscribed to this site, and now there are 35,000 other people subscribed as well. So it grew quite rapidly, and so you can share with a lot more people. But it's a great way to curate the information that you find, make sure that you're collecting it, you can find it, and you can share it with other people. And it's very easy to set up. My 4th step is how to make the information into knowledge. There's a very big difference between information and having access to information and that information becoming knowledge. I found a good definition of the difference, actually, that the knowledge is information with experience added. So you have to use the information that you found and share it in some way and do something with it for it to become knowledge. Of course, the most obvious and best way to use it is to take what you're reading while you're having your coffee in the morning. Take what you're reading, think about how you can use it in the classroom and take it into the classroom and do something with it. Try something new, try out a new tool, try out a new idea. And of course, reflect on that. And I think one of the important things about, or one of the most important tools for reflection is blogging, and that you create your own blog. How many of you are bloggers and have a blog? Yeah. That's good, that's good. It's more than usual. I think it's very important for teachers to blog. And I think it's very important to write about what you do. Even if very few people read it, the process of thinking through, structuring and organising your thoughts about teaching, I think is one of the most developmental processes you can go through. And when you get to the point where you have to click the button to publish your blog, I think that's a time for me when I really have to think carefully about, is this what I believe? You know, lots of people could see this, so you have to feel very confident and sure that it's what you believe. So I think that's a great process to go through. These are some different blogging tools that you can try and use if you don't have a blog already. The first one, Medium, is very popular at the moment with the press. I use the second one now, which is Blogger, which is very old, but it still works fine. The third one, Staffroom, is one that was created in the UK. And if you want to blog within a community that's only teachers, then this is quite a good one to choose. It's very easy to create your blog on it. You just have to register and create a profile. And all of the people on the platform are fellow teachers, a lot of them from the UK. WordPress, of course, is very useful. And if you have a profile on LinkedIn, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Yeah. If you're on LinkedIn, then you can create a blog there or post blogs there as well, which builds up your profile too, which is quite good if you want to get the next job or the next promotion. Here, there's a page that I can recommend. I'll see if I can get connected to the internet and share it with you. We have to wind It's a page that has a directory of all the people who work within ELT, or some of the best people who work within ELT and publish their own blog, so that you can go to this page and find some inspiration. And I think it's not connected. Okay. So it's called Essential Blogs in ELT, and someone has collected about 100 different links to blogs by people who work within English language teaching and share their thoughts. So that's a great place to go and find some inspiration for blogging. So, what next? I'm going to give you a break from listening to me, and I'm going to see how much you've remembered. Okay. So I've been through 4 different steps. Ask the person next to you what the 4 steps were. See if they can remember. I'll just give you a couple of minutes. Try and remember what the 4 steps were with the person next to you.